What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be doing a quick external pre-flight or walk around of the A320 series aircraft. We have a very beautiful external model in FS 2020, so we're just going to kind of a little bonus video here in the Airbus Training Series as we walk around the aircraft on a typical pre-flight pattern. As you can see on the image on your screen here, the typical pre-flight is going to be starting there just under that L1 door, going around the nose of the aircraft, all the way around through the tail, and then back up the other side and ending where you started. So without further ado, let's hop into the sim and take a look around our beautiful A320neo. So as we come outside and we start to walk around the nose of the aircraft, we're looking at a couple things. We want to check that our pitot tubes are in good working order, check that our static strips are in good working order, as well as that nose cone is properly latched and secured to the aircraft. Now as we're going to walk around the other side here of the nose cone, same thing, we're looking for all those static strips. And we also want to check our RVSM critical area, which is shown a little bit better here in this picture. Continue to work around the nose here. We come into the nose landing gear. This is where we're going to look for a couple things. We want to make sure all of our landing lights and taxi lights are in good working order. You can see here, this is the nose wheel steering disconnect lever. That should be in the appropriate position for the flight. Continuing to walk down the side of the aircraft here, we can see we have more static ports. And this is the forward cargo door. Seems to be closed right now. There's nobody loading cargo. We'll go ahead and walk on down past the engine here. We want to get up underneath this wing root. We want to check the landing gear from this side first. Looking up in that landing gear bay, making sure there is no hydraulics leaking or anything like that. Should be pretty clean. We would check the front brake wear indicator pins as well. However, they are not modeled on this exterior model. Looking at the engine pylon there, making sure everything looks good. You can see the gearbox bump there hanging off the bottom of that CFM LEAP. Coming around the front of the engine, making sure that our fan blades are in good working order, no cracks, nothing out of the ordinary, nice clean fan blades. As you come around the outside of the engine here, we see we got a no grab strake up there. Make sure that that's in good working order. Down here on this side of the pylon, you can see we have this circular door. This is actually for the fire bottles. So the fire bottles are almost, they're spherical, almost like a little softball or basketball. Continue to look up underneath the wing here. Make sure that there's no leaks. Make sure the trailing or the leading edge slats are in good working order. All right, coming up to our sharklet wingtip here, we can really zoom in on the lights, get a good idea of what's going on. You want to check that your lighting, exterior lights are properly functioning. We do have two sets of nav lights. That's why we have that two-position switch for redundancy. You can see we have one set of nav lights. LEDs are on right now. We can see the strobe light kind of in that blended sharklet area, and then we have our backup nav light set also in that sharklet area as well. So make sure those are all operating and functioning normally. Alright, as we leave the wingtip area with the sharklet here on our 320neo, we'll walk down the trailing edge of the starboard wing here. Want to make sure there's no bird strikes up underneath those flaps. Make sure those flap track fairings are in good working order. Looking up here on the trailing edge here, the trailing edge flaps right behind the landing gear. They have a tendency to get beat up a little bit from the gear throwing up rocks. Make sure that's all cleared away. No damage to the flap. Here we're looking at some of the brake lines, hydraulic lines going into the landing gear. Make sure they're in good working order. There's no leaks or anything, nothing pooling up on the floor here in between the two tires. As we back away from the landing gear, we'll continue to walk down the fuselage here. Examining our cargo doors. They may be open, they may be shut, depending on what phase the aircraft's in, if you're loading or not. Coming around to the empennage here, we do want to check the trimmable horizontal stab, or the THS. Make sure that's in good working order. You can see we've got an APU door here. Also, when you're doing your pre-flight, you do not want to walk directly underneath the tail of the airplane, because there's actually a lav service door located here underneath the tail, right about here. And if you walk under there, sometimes those doors can leak, and it's not water that's coming out of there, so you don't want to walk under that under any circumstances. But you get a good shot of the APU. If there's a tail strike on the airplane, it's actually going to be shown on this part of the empennage. You would think it'd be right up closer underneath the landing gear, but it's not. A tail strike would actually be indicated here up here towards the APU part of the airplane. Here we can get a nice look at the APU. You can see our position lights are on, fully illuminated. Now we should only have one light illuminated, not both. Remember, we do have that two-position switch for the nav light. Coming around the door here, in real life, there's a THS reset to 0 gauge. That's not modeled on this livery, but you do want to make sure your THS is at 0. And then as you come to this side of the wing, you would basically do the same thing that you did on the other one. Checking here underneath that trailing edge of the flap, make sure there's no damage from rocks being kicked up. Take a look at your landing gear, make sure that nothing's leaking, nothing pooling up underneath the landing gear strut there. Clean landing gear bay, flap track fairings, checking the main condition of the wing there, make sure everything looks good. All the way out to your sharklet again, looking at the nav lights, making sure they are illuminated. Make sure the sharklet's in good condition. Leading edge slats, make sure everything looks nice and snug up there, looks good. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the exterior walk around on the airplane. You're just checking the same things that you checked on the other side. I don't know why we get that weird little fisheye effect there coming around the engine. But that's pretty much going to take care of your pre-flight. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little bonus video, kind of a lesson 1A for the Airbus Training Series. Hope you guys have fun flying your Airbus around. We'll see you here in lesson 2 coming up next. See ya!